Today I'm going to share 5 beginner-friendly patterns that you can use to create yourself a really fun summer capsule wardrobe. I've made all of these patterns myself. I'm going to share pictures as we go through. So if you're just starting to dabble in garment sewing, this video is going to be full of patterns you can try. All right, so I've got 5 patterns, as I said. I'm going to have 2 bottoms for you, 2 tops, and 1 layer, because if you've been around this channel for a while, I love a good layer. So let's start with the bottoms. Now, I should say all of these patterns are perfect for woven fabric, which most beginners find easier to sew with, even though the fit is a little harder because you don't have the advantage of stretch fabric. Yeah, a woven fabric, a good linen, a good cotton definitely is easier to sew, and all of these can be made with those fabrics. But yeah, none of these, well, I think one of them can also be made in a knit fabric, but I'm really focusing on wovens here. I do prefer a good woven in the summer, so if you're anything like me, these are going to be good suggestions. All right, let's start with a pair of shorts for summer. What could be better? The pair of shorts, or the pattern I picked for the pair of shorts, is the Tinley shorts by Love Notions. They are a super cute and easy pattern that has a ton of different views, so you really get a lot of bang for your buck with the Tinleys. All right, I'm gonna look down on my iPad because I got a ton of notes, so please forgive me looking down from time to time. All right, different styles included in this pattern. You've got straight shorts, so your straightforward shorts. You've got full shorts that are really full and actually look like you're wearing a skirt. You've got a straight skirt that you can make biker shorts to wear with, so like a skirt type of thing. And then you've got a full skirt, so this time an actual skirt. You have all of those views have a flat front and elasticated back waistband, which at the minute is my favorite kind of waistband because it's all business in the front, looks very nice and polished and proper, and then in the back you've got maximum comfort so that when you sit, the waistband can expand with you, and then when you get up again, the waistband shrinks back to its original size. Fabulous. And if you're a tucker, is that even a word? Then you've got the nice flat waistband in the front. But if you're not a tucker, then yeah, you won't see the waistband anyways. It's got slash pockets that are really, really good. And the fun thing about this pattern is that you can make these shorts or this skirt in a knit fabric. You would probably size down if you were to use a knit. I used woven fabric on my version, but yeah, you can definitely use knit fabric. You would use, if you're making this out of woven, you can make these out of a rayon, out of a linen, a cotton poplin, a cotton lawn, a cotton twill even. Now, depending on the view you're making, you're gonna wanna change what fabric you use. So for example, I don't think I would use a twill for the full skirt because that would be a lot of fabric that is very stiff, like it would stand away from your body a little much. Like for the full skirt or the full shorts, I would go more with a rayon twill or a lightweight cotton lawn, that kind of fabric. All right, if you are making the bike shorts to go under the full skirt or the straight skirt, you would need a knit fabric with at least 50% stretch. So basically when you stretch it, it stretches at least 50% of its original width. So something to keep in mind. And yeah, if you're gonna make the full version of the shorts or the skirt. Pick something that's a little lightweight, that has a lot of drape, so not something that's going to be really stiff and stand away from your body too much. This pattern is available in the entire Love Notion size range, which is extra small to 5XL, and the 5X accommodates a waist up to 49.5 inches and hips of 59.5. Now, if you're making the full shorts or the full skirts, there is a ton of ease at the hips, so I wouldn't worry so much about the hip measurements. But if you're making the straight skirt or the straight shorts, you're going to want to make sure that you keep an eye on the finished or the body measurements and the finished garment measurements for both the waist and the hips. Instructions for Love Notions patterns are typically really good. Love Notions really focuses on and specializes in beginner-friendly pattern, and their instructions really are beginner-friendly. They're very detailed. They go step by step. They have great illustrations, and if the pattern has any tricky spots, they usually have a video tutorial linked out from the instructions. So if you pull up the instructions on your computer or iPad, you can just tap on that link and go watch a video of just that tricky part. So you don't have to scrub through entire videos trying to find that one spot. So really good instructions. The version I made it last summer, and I made the full shorts version, and it really does look like a skirt. I'm gonna insert pictures or a twirl here so you can see what it looks like on my body. I made a size 2X because that's the size my measurements put me into. But to be completely honest, I could probably size down to an XL. And yeah, there's so much ease at the hips. And because of the elastic in the back, you do have a little bit of wiggle room there. They are very comfortable. I have zero complaints about my Tinley shorts. They look really cute and they are comfortable, but yeah, there's a ton of ease in these shorts. I want to make this again, but this time I think I'm going to try the straight shorts, and I'm going to use a bit of a sturdier or more structured fabric, either a linen or a cotton twill, something like that, just to see how those fit me, because the full shorts, the fit is extremely forgiving. So as a beginner, the full shorts would be a great pattern to try out, keeping in mind that you're going to want flowy fabric, which is a tiny bit trickier to sew with. So yeah. So yeah, that's the Tinley shorts or skort or skirt. A ton of different views on there. Another thing that I really like about Love Notions patterns, before you buy a pattern, you get to see it made up on a ton of different body shapes, body styles. Yeah, all of their testers, there's a huge amount of diversity there. And yeah, before you make a decision to hit the purchase button, you get to see it on a bunch of different people, which is really good. So there you go, Tinley shorts, first pattern on the list. Next up, our second bottom, the Coco wide leg pants by Pattern Emporium. These are literally as comfortable as pajama pants, but depending on the fabric you use, can look so polished and elevated. It's a really good pattern. So the Coco wide leg pants have an elasticated waist, so it's a full elasticated waist, wide legs, and they are perfect for hot weather because they're wide legs, they're going to swoosh around, they're not going to stick to you. And depending on the fabric you choose, they can either be really casual or really dressed up. You can add large inseam pockets, and you can choose from a mid-rise or a high-rise. I wrote low-rise in my notes, but I think it's high-rise. It's high-rise or mid-rise. If it's not, I'm going to fix it on the screen. The pattern they suggest are going to be pretty flowy, drapey fabrics because there's a ton of fabrics in these pants. They are a relaxed fit, they are a little bit oversized, and the legs are wide. So you're going to want to choose something like a rayon, some tencel fabric, a lightweight linen, crepe would be really, really nice. So a cotton voile maybe, although most cotton voiles that I've come across are really see-through, and I don't believe in lining garments for the summer. Like, what is the point? I only want one layer of fabric on my body when it's really hot. So yeah, take that with a grain of salt. In terms of sizing, this pattern comes in sizes 6 to 22, which accommodates a waist up to 39.5, which is not great. I will acknowledge that. I mean, technically, my waist doesn't even fit the size range, but there's so much ease in this pattern. I make a size 20, and they're still pretty big. There's still a lot of room in there for me. So definitely have a look at the finished garment measurements before saying that you would not fit in the size range, because like I said, I technically don't fit in their size range, but I make a size 20, could probably go down to an 18 if I'm honest. Their instructions are, once again, very beginner friendly. So Kate, who's the designer at Pattern Emporium, has very, very detailed instruction booklets. Even though a lot of her patterns have a million different options, the booklet is structured in a way that you can very easily go from section to section and not be confused at all. One other thing I would highly suggest though is do not print the instruction booklet. First of all, there are a lot of pages, and second of all, there are very cool links in her instructions that take you from one section to the next in the proper order so that you can put your garment together easily. If you printed those instructions, I think it would get a little bit more confusing. So yeah, I'll leave you with that thought. The Coco wide leg pants are a very, very beginner friendly pattern, not just because of the instructions, but because there are basically no closures, right? So no zips, no buttons. This is a straightforward elasticated waistband. It's got inseam pockets, which are fairly easy to put together. So yeah, these are as easy to sew as a pair of pajama bottoms, really. Nothing difficult in here. My version, so I've made the Coco pants now 3 times. The first time I made them was last summer in a beautiful rayon that I got in a Think Pink box. I called them my crazy pants because I don't very often wear big, bold, colorful prints on a pair of pants. But I was going away on a trip. I was going to Greece, and I figured, why not? They're going to make some really fun pants to kind of walk around and visit and go to the beach with, that kind of thing. And they were. I wore them a ton during my trip. They were nice and breezy and cool to wear. They were just perfect. The second pair I also made to go to Greece. I made them in a lightweight linen, and this time I cropped them a little bit, and I wore them with some sandals. Again, they were fabulous on my trip to Greece. They're nice and loose, and they're not tight. They don't dig into you. Perfect for a vacation. And then the latest pair I made, I was hoping would be perfect to work from home or lunch with the girls or a nice casual family event, that kind of thing. I made them in a navy rayon linen blend, and the fabric is a little too heavy for the pattern, in my opinion. Not heavy in the sense that it's a heavy weight fabric. It's not thick, but rayon linen is just a heavy fabric. It's just heavy fibers, it feels like. So the pants grow throughout the day. So when I put them on in the morning, they fit beautifully. They land right on top of my foot. They're great. And by 3 o'clock, they're dragging on the floor and I have a saggy bum. And yeah, it's not, it's not the prettiest thing in the world. So I would be careful with the type of fabric you pick to make these pants, just because there's so much fabric that go into making these trousers. So just something to keep in mind. All right, and those are the Coco wide leg pants, perfect for your beginner summer wardrobe as a nice floaty pair of pants. All right, so let's tackle the tops. I've got 2 tops. I've got a sleeveless top and a short sleeve top for you. The first one is an oldie but a goodie, the Ashton top by Helen's Closet. I had to include the Ashton because although, you know, we don't hear about many people making the Ashton anymore on social media, we tend to be a little, ooh, what's the next big shiny thing? Us sewists. So, but the Ashton is a fabulous pattern. It's a simple, sleeveless, shell type of pattern. And I've made, I know of at least, I remember at least 2. But this pattern I've owned for a good number of years. And I could have made more. This is a, like I said, sleeveless, but it's really an all-season wardrobe staple because you could use fabric that you can wear in the fall or spring with a cardigan. There are 2 different views. This is an A-line type of shell. View A is hip length and view B is more of a crop top. Again, it's all relative because you can make the crop top as short or as long as you need it. And you can make the longer view as short or as long as you need it. So, you know, to say that those are 2 different views, I don't know, but yeah. Both views have the option to finish the neck and arms with either an all-in-one facing that is finished using the burrito method or bias binding. I've made one of each. I know that my first one I used the facing, and another one I made I used bias binding. Goes together beautifully either way. And the hem is finished using a beautiful hem facing, which is, yeah, I love those. It looks so polished. It looks really, really professional. I love a good hem facing. In terms of sizing, the pattern is offered in sizes 0 to 30. Hips up to 58 inches, and they have 2 size bands. So basically they have 2 blocks. They have the 0 to size 22 with a B cup for the bust, and sizes 12 to 30, sorry, with a D cup size, which is fabulous. And I love that there's a really good overlap. Helen doesn't assume that, you know, because you need a 24, or I should say like a 20, that you also need a D cup. I love that there's a really big overlap between the 2 size bands. Helen Closet instructions are probably, in my opinion, the best in the industry. She is amazing. She holds your hand throughout. I've heard people get a little bit annoyed at the amount of detail that she puts in her instructions. I personally have no issues with that. If you don't need certain steps, just skip over those. It might be a little bit annoying if you're somebody who prints the instructions no matter what, but I always pull up the instructions on a computer or an iPad, so I have no issues with the instructions being a little bit wordy. I love that she has tips and tricks throughout just to kind of help the beginner get through some of the trickier bits. Yeah, so definitely Helen's Closet is top-notch in terms of instructions. I made, like I said, a couple of versions. The first one I made quite a few years ago in a rayon. It was a black and white rayon. I wore that Ashton top to death. I finally had to get rid of it because it was falling apart. I think only like 6 to 9 months ago. It didn't survive one of my closet edits because it was just not looking very polished anymore. And I also made one in a white rayon, and I used bias binding for that one. I gave that one away because I never ever wore it. Unfortunately, the rayon was a little bit see-through, a little more see-through than I was comfortable with. And as I said a few minutes ago, I don't want to wear 2 layers if it's really hot. So if I want to wear a white Ashton top, I just want to wear the white Ashton top. I don't want to have to wear a cami under it. So yeah, I gave it away, but I really want to make myself at least one more Ashton to wear during this summer, but also have in my wardrobe for the fall to wear under a cardigan to go to the office. It's just the perfect layering piece. So that is the, oh, I forgot to tell you what size I made. So back when I made this pattern the first time, I used size 18, yes, in the curvier range, which is a D cup. But if I were to do this again, the last time I wore my Ashton that is now, yeah, in the recycling bin, it was very snug at the bust. So next time I make one, I will probably stick with the size 18 at the bust, but do an additional full bust adjustment and then grade out to a 20 just to give me a little more room in the hips, because yeah, I've grown a little bit since my very first Ashton. So I know I'll need to reprint, well, maybe not reprint my pattern. Maybe I could fudge the grading to a size 20 and just do the FBA on the printed pattern I already have. But yeah, so I was a size 18. I probably am still a size 18 with an FBA grading to a 20 at the waist and hips for the Ashton. The second top I chose is another oldie-ish but goodie, and it is the Seychelles top by Itch to Stitch. It is probably one of my favorite top patterns. Yeah, it's got Itch to Stitch designs, really good basics with a twist, or basics with a little something something, like beyond basic type of basics. And the Seychelles is no exception to that. The Seychelles is basically a t-shirt, a woven t-shirt, but the shoulders are cut in, like the shoulder seams cut in a little bit, and then you've got these beautiful puffy or pleated sleeves. It's got a gorgeous V-neck. It's finished with the facing that you sew down, so there's no flopping of the facing. And it's a straight hem, very easy to hem, and you can choose how short or long you want it. It is such a good pattern for somebody who's got narrow shoulders like me, because my Seychelles always fit me perfectly at the shoulders. It's a great, great pattern. For fabrics, you can use any woven as long as it's light to medium weight. It does have long sleeves as well, so you can use a little thicker or heavier weight fabric to make the long sleeves. But you can use anything from a linen, a rayon, a chambray, a sateen, a cotton voile, any woven fabric. I made mine, and I've made 3 of them now. The first 2 I made in a rayon, and they were fabulous. The last one I made in a cotton sateen, and I did not love it. Not because of the pattern, but because of the fabric. Not a fan of cotton, but yeah. The pattern is available in sizes 00 to 40, which accommodates a bust of 63 inches and hips of 62 inches, and has bust cups. Woohoo! So bust cups B, C, D, and double D, which is fabulous. In terms of instructions, Itch to Stitch patterns are very, very well drafted, and her instructions are very clear without being as wordy as, let's say, Helen's Closet's instructions would be. So she gives you plenty to make the pattern, but no more. So I like her instructions. She uses very clear illustrations, and yeah, her patterns, her instructions are very well structured and very easy to follow. My version, so like I said, I made this 3 times, twice in a rayon, once in a cotton sateen. The first 2 versions, so the first one I made 3 or 4 years ago in a rayon. Again, rayon doesn't last very long in my experience, especially if you machine wash your clothes. I machine wash my clothes. Life is too short for, yeah. So it was starting to look a little worse for wear, so I've retired the first one I made. The second one I made was a gorgeous floral rayon with a lace detail at the bottom, like a border at the bottom, and I absolutely loved it. But it was, yeah, I grew a little bit or it shrunk. Maybe it just shrunk, because viscose does shrink. And it was just a little snug in the hip area and didn't look as good anymore, so I gave that one away. And then my third version, as I said, was in a cotton sateen, and I wore it a couple of times last summer, and it did not survive when I put my summer clothes away last fall because I wasn't reaching for it anymore. I do not like the way cotton stands away from your body so much, and I just felt like my Seychelles looked too big for me in a sateen, whereas in a rayon the fit is perfect. So yeah, I always made a size 18 with the double D cup in the Seychelles, and moving forward I'm gonna grade to a 20 at the waist and hips just to make sure I give myself a little bit more room there. But yeah, size 18 on me was perfect. There will be more of this t-shirt because yeah, it's a really, really good one, and it's really not hard to sew. So if you're a beginner and you want like a beyond basic woven top, the Seychelles is fabulous. And finally, our layering piece, and for that I decided to go with the Songbird jacket or duster and cardigan by Pattern Emporium. So the Songbird I've only made once, and I've only made it for Marianne. I do have plans to make myself one, but I can vouch for how fun this pattern is to sew and how nice it looks on. And this is another one that you can make in knit or woven fabric. Now, you're gonna want to be careful with the fabric you choose depending on the view you're making. So the Songbird is a lightweight jacket or cardigan, perfect for summer. Like, it's the perfect layer for air-conditioned restaurants or offices or a cooler evening, that kind of thing. It's got 4 lengths, so you can make it in a cropped, cover-up length, knee length, or long line, or basically duster. 3 different sleeve styles. You've got a few different options for the neckband, so thinner, thicker, shorter, longer. So you've got a few different options, and it can be made in a knit or woven. So it's a lightweight layer. It's not meant for really heavy knit fabric or heavy woven fabric. So pick something with a little bit of drape, something, yeah, that's not gonna be super, super heavy or stiff, especially if you're making one of the longer ones, like a duster that basically stands away from your body in a tent-like shape. It's probably not what you're after. So just keep that in mind. Patterns available in sizes 6 to 24, so bust up to 47.25 and hips up to 51.25. Again, not super size inclusive, but here again, there's a ton of ease built into this pattern. So look at the finished garment measurements before saying that you don't fit in the size range. Instructions are good. I spoke about Pattern Emporium instructions already. I'm not going to go over that again, but yeah, they are very, very good. The version I made, I use a lightweight rayon jersey. I made a size 8 for Marianne, and you'll see in the picture how much ease there is in this. I probably could have sized down 1, if not 2 sizes for her. And I'm definitely going to look at the pattern, at the finished garment measurements when I do mine, because I don't know that I would want something super oversized for summer. Like, I don't want a ton of extra fabric in a layer for summer. But really, really good pattern, a ton of options. So again, here you would get a lot of bang for your buck. So there you have it, 5 beginner-friendly pattern that will allow you to sew yourself a fun summer capsule. Shorts, pants, tank top, a woven tee, and your layering piece. You've got all the pieces there for a fun summer capsule wardrobe. I would love to know if you've ever made any of these patterns. Please let us know in the comments what your experience was like, or if you have other patterns to recommend for a beginner to put together a summer capsule wardrobe, please add those to the comments below. And everybody, after you've watched this video, go down and comment in the comments and get some inspiration from everybody else. Thank you so much for watching. Please give the video a like on your way out if you liked it, and consider subscribing to the channel. Thanks again, and I will see you soon.